yoga is yogi means the one who is adapted what is called this renunciation. Okay. So first you use what you call this viveka, means discrimination, and the willpower to renounce what you have identified as standing on the way to achieve yoga. Like if by looking at the ladies, if I feel distraction, I'm not looking. If I can't handle something, I have to avoid.
That was my question yesterday. Yeah. I mean, there's a definition of beauty, right? I mean, if the beauty is affecting you, like a man and a woman or whatever, the beauty is there must be a physical response.
Yeah. So out of that physical response, you will soon discover if you are really, if you want to learn yoga, you will, because one of the important aspects of yoga is in the beginning, they define how you are functioning and what is the reason. And they have very clearly defined a term, what modern psychologists call is conditioning, is called samskara. Okay? And only one exception is that the Indian people, the people those who invented, because they didn't know the genetic thing that well, they always used to think that this conditioning, not only you have acquired the way you have grown up in the childhood, but that something else also came to you through previous birth. You have acquired some conditioning, rather samskaras. That is
the genetic part.
But which is unknown. Still, we don't know how somebody can be so brilliant at very tender age. Those days they used to think he must have been born with a, like they say, yoga bhrashta or somebody who was very genius, couldn't find the proper, came here in this part, so he's genius right at the age of 8. Something like that. So they carry that, because the whole idea is you have to understand the human being. So to understand, you have to explain everything. To explain everything, you create models. So one of the models is that you carry the previous birth's samskara. And yoga's main aim is that you have to understand how you are moved by this conditioning, samskaras, and you have to end it. And it is very clearly instructed how you kill the samskaras inside you. And even now also, in the modern psychology also, is the same thing. If you are confronted by a big problem in your childhood, you will have all this problem, and you go to shrink, and they will tell you stories to remove those conditioning from you. The trauma. How do they handle this trauma? What is trauma? Means your childhood trauma. It's the same thing. Like you have confronted some huge psychological problem in your childhood. Now it becomes a ripple effect. You carry that burden. Psychologists through giving medication or pravachan means tell you some good stories, listen to you carefully, give you some steps. That's what the religious people do. Pravachan is the same shit. That's the same stuff. What's the difference? In a nice cloak way, you used to go to religious teachers. Now you go to shrinks. That's the exact same process. You are listening something, and by listening, it takes away your accumulated pain and trauma and things like that.
You're basically replacing one structure with another.
Yeah, absolutely. But it is a fact that human brain gets affected by these things. That's a fact that was known to Hindus 5,000 years ago. And that is what those days there was, also they had chemicals, okay?
Yeah.
The Hindus had all chemicals available, from Samvarasa to all Ayurvedic herbs, that now they give it as a medication here. The pharmaceutical companies are making huge bucks out of giving you either ADT drug or you have low energy, they give you high drug. Either some kid is high or low, they fix it, right? So they also had all kinds of drugs. If you have a lot of pain, they will give you something to kill the pain. You chew it, you forgot the pain. So these are all there. And what they exercise, they try to find some genuine way to remove those things. And yoga was one of this. And there, if you remove all these things, if you remove all the conditioning, then you begin to function very differently. And that is what it is written, that if you really become expert in yoga, then you, as you know yourself, this whole knowledge will reveal to you who you are, who truly you are. That's the whole point of the yoga. Tadadrashtu swarupa savasthanam.
So that's what you're saying, that is the pre-programmed order. What reveals there is like a pre-programmed order.
Pre-programmed order is already there, it is functioning. You want to adapt a socially introduced order.
So it takes over.
It takes over.
That process.
And that struggle is always there. Because your money has no fit to this body. You don't eat money.
Then onwards it's just its own like health or whatever is preference.
It's like if you are very healthy, first of all you won't eat any food that doesn't suit. You are perfect discrimination. There is no such thing as desire or test-driven food. You have already decided what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat. There is no such thing as greed at all. Body eats only when it needs to eat.
So what those guys were doing was saying that you do these practices and then at a point you may get to a point where this
the whole thing will take over.
And now what Yuji and you are saying is that like you take this process, which is creating the problem, and put stop and to this whole process, so that something might not move in that field. Right? That thinking field.
Something might not move means you hit
There's
a solid
so many
corner.
dead ends, right? You have nowhere to go.
It is like you have invented everywhere you want to go, it's a bloody dead end. So your movement begins when before you take first step, you know where it is going to go. And you have gone so many times there, you have no desire to go there again.
So you're basically saying don't do all that, and then get to a point where this, you have nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
Then in that, there is a possibility.
In that, body has a better chance of taking over. But as long as you are criticizing and accepting certain aspects of the value system, that long you are governed or an agent of the same value system.
Yes.
The moment you tell to your son that this is very good for the society, you still are an agent of the value system. Sorry. There is nothing you can do.
So you have to give up like trying to go for pro or con, whatever is there, like as an opinion. So your opinion has to go.
I mean, you have to find the examples in a sense that, it used to be very apparent. When I get a kid, I really didn't know what is best for them. I was just thinking, this is a bloody 5,000 to 6,000 years of evolution and studies and knowledge and wisdom. You still don't know what is best for them. If I push, it is not good. If I don't push, it is not good. If I push them to eat something, not good. If I don't ask them to eat something, it's not good. Hello? Or anything I say, they say no.
So that
If you have a child, you know what I'm talking.
So that like translate.
That you don't understand.
That you don't understand. The world is changed. And I can't tell him that you must listen, because I did not leave behind a world which I can be so proud of that you should follow this. They will tell you in my point out to my finger, this is the world you guys have created. Fuck you all. I have no say. Unless I can take a belt and wipe that guy out. That's my brute force.
So doesn't that like apply to...
Is it true or not?
You're all the time under pressure. Because the values is
No, but that applies to oneself also, like...
Yes, that's the whole point.
You're saying
So
that
that
to
is the
yourself.
thing. There, Jesus was right. Before you take a stone and beat anybody, think about yourself. Do you really have anything to point anybody to any finger? Look at yourself. You are sold out.
do unto others. as you-
Yeah. I don't find anything that I can tell somebody do this. Because I know it's the way this brain functions is absolutely different from the way your brain functions, which makes it accept certain things. And this brain makes in a very different way. So my pushing you to accept this as a reality is an exercise in total futility. It can be at best a common mode of expression. That's it. Just so that we function. There's nothing more to it.
But you are showing every time that it's a futile exercise.
Exactly.
So that's what has to go in here so that you get...
So that you never have to depend on anybody, and you have no desire to make anybody depend on yourself.
That first step is money in this society. So without that, it would be very hard to get to that point.
Because the tool that you are going to use is called thought. It is fascist. It sits in that brain, first convince itself, then it sets out to convince others. That's fascism. In the name of doing good, doing justice, doing right. How can there be 25,000 right? I don't understand. So there may be 24,999 is wrong. Because everybody tells their own, sing their own song and beat their own drum. This is the best, this is the best, come and join. Isn't it? So how do you expect a child, how do you bring up a child? How can you tell my God is good when some other person is telling their child their God is good? This kid is going to be confused. Yeah. So he will hate that he was pushed to accept certain things which he hated at that time. No child wants to get bitten. So he begins to resent every step, you know. Oh, how can you do anything? That's what I'm telling you. It's just made me realize that really nothing is there. It's just so different here.
So then, I mean, you can't even act. I mean, this is the stuff that is producing the action.
I don't accept.
then-
I don't
then,
accept.
I mean,
I don't
everywhere-
accept anything.
every step
But
you question.
I am acting. What is that I'm
No,
not
I'm
acting?
talking about like someone like me.
Well,
If this is the only instrument I use,
Yeah.
then at every step of my
The-
everywhere.
Because
I have to
I'm
question
trying
it.
to tell you that this is how I found myself. It's like a chess board. I'm forced to play the game. There are 5 different things holding the gun on my head.